well, 2023 is almost over, and can't say that this year was what I thought it was going to be. Thought I was going to be posting a lot more stuff on this channel, and that is not what ended up happening. I ended up really not posting a lot of stuff. I thought I was going to do a lot of live streams and other stuff with a bunch of people, and that's just not what ended up happening. And I won't make any guarantees for 2024 yet because I am doing a bunch of side projects right now that I won't reveal just yet. But I promise they're cool and they will be out at some point. But I ended last year, and I guess I ended the year before, with a video that was just showcasing some of my favorite music from throughout the year. Not necessarily things that were released this year, but just music that I listened to and enjoyed this year. Just like last year, I made a playlist starting in January and ending in December of all the stuff I was listening to. So we basically have a direct record of, the music I was liking throughout this year. And I've posted the playlist in the description for YouTube Music and for Spotify. So I'm not going to talk about every single song on the playlist because then this video would be like an hour long. But I will mention some of the highlights from the playlist. So my good friend Miles released an album this year. It's called Stay Well, and the artist name is Smiley with 2 L's. I think it was one of the first albums of this year that I really was enjoying. I was kind of like, from the months of like January to March, not much was being released that I was enjoying. I was like, this year's not going to be great for music. But then this album comes out, and this is really honestly one of my favorite albums of the year. I think I've included 2 tracks from the album on the playlist, Sleepy Hollow and Wait. But I would definitely recommend listening to the entire album if possible. It's on all the streaming platforms. The artist's name is Smiley, Smilley. I'm just giving you free promotion, Miles. Next thing I'll mention is The Album by Jonas Brothers. The album's just called The Album. This is another great album that was released this year. This was released in May, and I remember listening to it on release day and just thinking this is another great album from this year. So clearly this year wasn't that bad for music. I've included a few songs off of this album on the playlist because I was already into songs from this when they were released as singles, and then the album dropped, and I was like, there are a bunch more songs that I just wanted to include on the playlist. This is another one though I would recommend listening to the whole album. It's just called The Album. It's by Jonas Brothers. I didn't have the CD for this next one, but Jackman by Jack Harlow is another big one this year. I think I have a few tracks off of it on the playlist, and I think it's one of my favorite rap albums. I know that he released a single later on this year, but I didn't like that as much. But really, the whole album, Jackman, I really like, except for the track that's called Ambitious. I'm not a big fan of that track. I think another one I should mention is Out on the Coast by the Surefire Soul Ensemble. This is an album that came out a few years ago already. It's not completely recent, but I happened to have a vinyl copy of it, and I started listening to it, and I really liked it. I would recommend listening to the whole album, but I have a couple tracks from this album on my favorites playlist. So over the summer, my good friend Louie, who has been on the channel a few times and who I've mentioned in other videos, he introduced me to this rapper called Logic, who y'all probably know about him already, but I didn't even know who he was. I knew Louie was talking about him a lot, but then he finally played me a song of his, and I was like, man, this is actually really dope. So maybe 2/3 into the playlist, you could see that there's just a few Logic songs, sprinkled in there. The beats and raps from Logic have kind of, influenced my production since, in the latter half of the year, I started really liking the sound of Logic stuff and just kind of trying to produce like that. And so tracks that I make with Louie now kind of, have that influence in them. I think I have 3 or 4 from him, maybe 5. I don't know. More than a lot of other artists that are on this playlist. I only have 2 from the Talking Heads, but the reason that they're on there is because I saw the concert film Stop Making Sense because it was playing in IMAX in the fall, and I forgot how good the Talking Heads are, and so I saw the movie and I was like, damn. And then I saw that they had a new remaster of the soundtrack, so I was like, I'm just gonna add a couple to the playlist because they're really good. And it wouldn't be a favorites playlist for me without the Beatles. I think I have a separate video that was reviewing the Red and Blue albums, and at the time I only had the Red album CD, but I was like, screw it, I'll get the Blue album CD too. And I have the last Beatles song on the playlist, Now and Then. I should probably make a whole separate video just going in depth on that song. It's alright. I'd give it like, I don't know, 7 out of 10. Like, it's a really, you know, it's nothing revolutionary. You know, it's a fine song. It made its way on there because I think that, you know, it's not a bad song. Like, it's written pretty well. And because I was listening to it and enjoying it a lot. But, like, you know, it's fine. I'll make a separate video about it. Like, I'm not gonna rant here. And in terms of the new Red and Blue, I have a separate video on that already. It's on my channel. You guys can find it. I do have I Feel Fine, the new mix of I Feel Fine by the Beatles on there as well, because that mix I actually enjoyed. But like all the other ones were just like, no. Another one that I was introduced to from SNL was Boy Genius. They have this album that's called The Record, which is out, and I think a couple of songs made it onto my favorite playlist. And that was basically because I was watching SNL and they were on Saturday Night Live, and I thought their music was pretty cool. And then I listened to the album and I was like, whoa, this is actually pretty good. So a couple of songs made it on there. And then for some reason, like in the past week, I have been on an ABBA train. And I have been listening to their music a lot more because I forgot that they actually make good music. So, I mean, that's what I'm listening to right now, and that's kind of what finishes out the playlist. Except the last song on it is a Beach Boys song, but, you know, who cares? There was a lot of, like, random song after random song, like, on this. Like, it wasn't really, I mean, there were a few points where, like, someone would release an album, and I would, like, you know, put a bunch of songs from that album on the playlist, but, like, there are some moments where, like, nothing really, you know, groundbreaking was releasing, and it was just kind of whatever I was finding. And, you know, it's been a different year for music than last year, but there were more songs on my favorite playlist this year than last year somehow, even though I don't feel like I was listening to as much. I don't know, man. I know I did, you know, top 3 albums last year, or maybe I did top 5. I don't remember. I did something about the, you know, top albums of the year last time, but I don't think they're enough to make a decision on this time. If I really had to give top spot to someone, I think it would probably be a tie between Smiley and Jonas Brothers. I mean, first of all, because Miles is my friend and I have to not, you know, give him second place. But also because, I mean, they're both really good albums. You know, they're different genres, but I think they're both good, you know, respectively. I would definitely recommend listening to both of them in full. And then, I don't know, you'll have a better day. I don't really know. So in terms of what's to come for 2024, I literally have no idea. I'm still making music. I don't know when the next album is going to be. You know, I just released a new album. It's out, you know, on all the services. It's called Environments. You can find it on my channel. But I haven't really gotten to work on a new album. I've been making a bunch of stuff with Louie. I've been working on a few other side projects. You know, I'm doing stuff, just not this stuff. I don't know when the next video is going to be. I don't know when the next live stream is going to be. I don't really know. So I'll keep you guys posted. But I promise you guys I'm still, like, alive and I'm doing things. So this is probably the last video I'm going to upload in 2023. So happy 2024. Yeah, I got nothing else.